All right, did the LA Chargers make their first mistake so far? If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but this channel fully dedicated to the Chargers because we're Jim Harbaugh fans and we followed him, started making this channel, and now here we are as we get into this offseason. We're really excited about it as we've looked at it a lot of different ways, and it's going to be exciting if you're a Chargers fan. Now, here is the mistake that was made. Before we get into that, though, let me know, we've been doing this here each day, is let me know your all-time favorite running back. I think we did. Did we do running back yet? You cannot say LaDainian Tomlinson. We maybe already did this one. Did we already do running back? I can't even remember. Let me know in the comments. Running back. And basically, you can't say the best running back. You gotta come up with something different. All-time favorite Chargers. Okay, here it is. Is now that this is kind of like it's out there now. It's like, okay, we can really kind of look back at it. Harbaugh chose not to retain Kellen Moore from the previous staff. Instead, he hired Greg Roman. So this is like, oh, shoot, because we all know Kellen Moore helps the Philadelphia Eagles. They look balanced. They look under control offensively, run game. He just played to the strength of his entire team. Offensively, it is like, that was pretty good. So Jason Reed of Bolt Beat is taking Harbaugh to task over it and clearly feels it was the wrong decision. Let me know in the comments. The Chargers had the chance to keep Moore. They could have blocked Moore from interviewing for other offensive coordinator positions. However, Harbaugh had his guy in mind, went with Greg Roman. The rest is history. In a perfect world, Harbaugh would have seen the nuance and would have given Moore one more year to give his star quarterback some play calling consistency. I think that's key right there. Justin Herbert then changes coordinators, right? And you just change and you change, and everyone is going to make a big deal about it because I think it is. I think changing coordinators, changing the way that you call plays and the way that they're called and getting used to him. I mean, it would have been nice to see what could have happened for one more year. Moore would have not solved the personnel issues on the interior offensive line. We'll get to that in just a second. We'll get to more of that. And wide receiver, but he could have squeezed more out of the Chargers offense than Greg Roman did. Remember, they finished 20th in offense last year, and I think it was a mistake. And if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know that generally we're positive on here. And we love Jim Harbaugh. I think he's great. I mean, everything that he did was incredible. But I do think this is an interesting spot to be in where you're like, dang, I think we could have been better, and I think it would have then maybe led into year 3 now, or another year of having some play calling, offensive coordinator consistency. But instead, now you're hoping Greg Roman can do that. So here's why this is interesting, is because we all know wide receiver, and we've talked about it at length on this channel. There's star wide receivers that are aging guys that are still could give you a year or two. Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel. There's one other one, Seahawks dude, but they're older. Could you have to trade for them? What's that look like? Then there's some free agent guys out there. So wide receiver would feel like confident that you can go T. Higgins, something like that, draft a couple guys. Running back feel good about, but it's the interior offensive line that I think worries would be the word. You have to be worried about, because here's why. They're hard to find. There's not a lot of them available. For example, what you're looking at is like the Detroit Lions have a 35-year-old Kevin Zeitler who might end up wanting to play one more year. You know, he's 35. Yeah, maybe he could step in, maybe. But here is PFF ranking the top interior offensive linemen, and what you'll see is their big board rank. So they got him at 45. So that's, heading into mid-second round is what his value is. That's Tyler Booker. Then you've got Tate Ratledge, 94 big board. It's like, man, so you can see that there's 3 interior offensive linemen in the first 100 players. And again, if everyone does what they say they do, which is draft the best player available and position doesn't matter, then it's like, all right, that's 3 players in the first 3 rounds of interior offensive linemen. So it's hard to find these guys. So big board rank 121. So now we're 5 guys in and we're at 142 in the big board ranking. So you can kind of see how there's two things that need to happen. Well, one thing that needs to happen. You need to scout the crap out of these guys, and you need to either nail one of these guys or nail a later round pick. And the Lions did that last year. Sorry, I keep talking about the Lions, but the Lions did that last year and were able to find a guy late in the first round or late in the draft, and that's what you have to do if you want to be successful in that interior offensive line. So let me go here to this one. I like how, yeah, okay, I can't. It's not. Let's go to this mock draft that I was just trying to find. Shoot, it's not pulling up. There's a mock draft here that we looked at the other day. It's from Tankathon, and the reason I like it is because you get a really clear picture about the other players around you at pick 22. So they've got you going Emeka Egbuka. Perfect. I would do that. But there's Tyler Booker, who PFF has at a 40-something ranking. They picking him up at 24. So you got an interior offensive lineman. You got a bunch of edge players and quarterbacks that have to come off the board up here early. There is about 5 blue chip players in Mason Graham, Will Johnson, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. And I guess you could do Will Campbell in there depending on what he's going to play. So you've got 5 blue chip players, 2 quarterbacks. So that puts you right kind of starting to get down pick 8, 9, 10. And then it's a bunch of edge players, and then wide receiver is really good too. So you could get some really good wide receivers. There's some offensive tackles. You don't really need that though. So it's like interior offensive lineman right here. You can see that's clustered right down there for you. So again, I think if you're a fan of the Chargers, you're excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, offense can only get better. I mean, it would be shocking if they weren't better. So if the offense gets better, the defense kind of does its thing. You add some pieces. You've got the core now of this thing. I think you got to be excited about that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. I think the good news is going into this offseason, the Chiefs lose. You got to be excited about that. Just like, all right, Chiefs lose. I think we talked about the things you got to be excited about. Chiefs lose. You've got one of the 5 quarterbacks that are going to win the AFC for the next 10 years. You've got one of those. It's going to be difficult. The competition's, I mean, as hard as it gets in the AFC, but you have a chance because you have one of the quarterbacks. So that's all positive. The foundation's been built. Jim Harbaugh, you have a chance in the AFC. 10 teams in the AFC, not that many. 7 teams in the AFC have no chance. No matter how they spin it, what they do this offseason, they don't have the quarterback. They can't compete with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see all of you on the next one.